and welcome to the Women's Rugby Pod, episode 148. Hope everybody is safe and well. My captain, now my coach is alongside Sarah Hunter, MBE. How are we doing, Sunter? You are the busiest person on the planet.
I'm very well, thank you. I'm not quite sure I've got that title. I just feel like there's people a lot busier with a lot more important jobs than I've had. But yes, I've been pretty busy. I thought retired life might be a bit quieter, but it seems to be way more hectic and way more exhausting than when I was playing international rugby.
Come on, some of the highlights. You've been not just in the tracksuit, not just in a smart polo, but dolling yourself up as well. What have been the highlights over the last couple of weeks?
I think being at the game, the Twickenham game on the Saturday, the Six Nations Saturday, walking the trophy out, that was pretty cool.
Proper John Terry from you. Yeah, full John Terry. Surprised you didn't have full kit on. No, I look, joking aside, it was such a beautiful touch. I was, I cry most of the day. That set me off into another level. It was beautiful to have you involved, and quite rightly so. What on earth was that like?
I was like a kid at Christmas. Like genuinely, I woke up before my alarm on Saturday morning, like jumped out of bed, which is unheard of. Like I was just so excited about the whole day. I was really lucky. I had like a few different things to do. I went to like a women's rugby conference beforehand with so many coaches, volunteers, like just the administrators within the game that had been invited beforehand, and to go and speak to them and like share with them their experiences of their involvement was really good, and what they're doing for the game now. There was the pioneers of the game. They were there. I like bumped into a few of them. Some of the old girls, the old Red Roses, the vintage Roses.
Burns
Yeah, like
the Icy Woods. Yeah, they're all there.
So much. So that was just a real special to start it. The atmosphere just around the stadium. I had like a schedule of where I needed to be and what I needed to get to, and I was like, it'll be fine. There's plenty of time, but I just couldn't move anywhere quickly. Like people just wanting to say hello, your photograph. Like it was just brilliant. I got to take my mum and dad into the President's Suite for brunch, and they got to watch the game in the Royal Box with Nigel Gillingham, the president, which was really lovely from him. I then nipped up to comms to do the comms with Nick Keith, and then back down to take the trophy on to be in the post-match function, like just a really special day, and then finished it off with the girls for a few drinks or two into the evening when you were off duty and could share in their moment of winning the Six Nations with them.
Now the Anglers, wasn't it?
The Anglers, then
Accepted.
We went to the Fox. The patch was shut by the stage, so yeah, I would have loved to get to the patch. I didn't actually get to the patch, which it looked and sounded incredible. Like there was just so much stuff everywhere going on, like such a great day for the game.
But what I really want to focus in on is that moment when, did you have gloves on? I can't remember the trophy.
No, I didn't have gloves on. You get this awkward moment when to go on, when not to go on.
Yeah, but when and that, presumably it was a raw, ready for the trophy that's going to England, an awesome day, and then captain of all captains is bringing it out. That raw, I mean, you smile quite widely, at the worst of times, the beam on your face was just brilliant. Can you try and sum that? Just that walk up for us.
Yeah. Like to begin with, like someone was telling me to go on. The other, like one of the men were telling me to stop. I was like, oh, this is really awkward. But yeah, when I finally was allowed to walk on, I just this sense of like pride about like just the day and the people around. I mean, God knows how the players felt in that whole, like from walking in through the stadium in front of fans. Like I was like, this is insane. Like, and having the moment to, you know, walk the new trophy out. Me and the old trophy started our Six Nations career together and ended it together, which is pretty cool. But to walk this new trophy out was pretty special, and to know that the first people lifting it was going to be England, and it was going to be Marley Packer was really special. And yeah, I just really happy to be involved and have the honour to do that. You know, it was totally unexpected, and had only found out the week before, and yeah, no, it was a great day.
So the retirement and the separation for the IRFU literally lasted a couple of weeks. We are now the Red Roses assistant coach pathway, working with that pathway 18 to 20s and the seniors. A lot of us in the rugby media are very, very relieved. I'm saying relieved, but very pleased to see you there. Was sort of Red Rose ambassador, some morale manager, Red Rose's barometer. You know, Wayne Smith had a lot of sort of help in dealing with the Black Ferns. It was his first time, and you know, with the introduction of John Mitchell, we're hoping that you kind of fulfill that role as well. It's very, very early days, but how did that come about? You made the decision to do Newcastle. We've done that. Did the conversations kick on before that or after that? How quickly was it?
Yeah, it's all been very, very quickly. I'd obviously committed to working with Loughborough and Northampton and taking on a role there, which was a really tough decision to not commit to. Like, I'm someone that likes to stick by my word and what I've said I would do, but I hadn't realised this was going to be a role that was going to come about. And then when I got offered the opportunity to do it, it was something I seriously thought about. And like the opportunity to work with your national country, you know, having not long retired from the Red Roses, to know that I can be part of that, and I can be part of, you know, a home World Cup. And one of the big drivers was, you know, working along someone like John Mitchell, with the wealth of experience that he has and the environments that he's worked in, and you know who he is as a coach is something that I think is really important for me to know that I've got someone to learn from in that way, as a new, probably relatively young coach on their journey, to sort of soak up all that experience and to learn from him it's a really exciting proposition. And yeah, I think it's just one that I just thought, if it doesn't come along again, will I regret not taking the chance to do this. And I just think the coaching team that's been assembled has really good balance to it, and I think hopefully will really take the Red Roses to the level that they need to win a home World Cup. And to be part of that is really exciting. But equally, I'm excited to be in the Red Roses camp and work alongside those coaches in whatever way they see fit, and to support them. And I think to still be that conduit between the players, having not long retired, and from a player's perspective, what it is that we need to be delivering as coaches, and the environment we need to create, and actually what is going to get the best out of this team as we move forward in the next 2.5 years. So equally excited about that, and hopefully given that perspective. But working in the pathway as well, I've had the opportunity to go in a few times and do stuff with the 20s, which is really good, and not only to help them with their technical and tactical stuff, but you know, really help support them and give them guidance on what it is to be a Red Roses player, and how they make that step, and how they do make that transition from being a pathway player to being a fully fledged Red Rose. And I think that's a pretty exciting place to work as well. So it was, in the end, it was just too much of an opportunity to say no to. So yeah, it's been something that's come out of the blue, but I'm so excited about where it can be, and it's a brand new role, so hopefully get to shape it a little bit as well.
Have you spoken to John Mitchell, who of course is not obviously around till after Japan's exit of the Men's World Cup, but have you spoken to Mitch? Had a good initial chat with him?
Yeah, really good. John's been great. Got in contact really quickly, and had a really good initial conversation around, I guess, my thoughts on coaching, where I fit, where I see my strengths are. I said I'm really excited to work with him and to learn from him, and I think he's equally someone who wants to help and support coaches and develop coaches and teach. And so I think there's be a really nice balance there, and everything, all the dialogue I've had with him is really positive in terms of what he wants to do and like the things he wants to bring. He's very reflective that there's some really great stuff within the Red Roses, so it's about how he brings his own sort of stamp into it. And all the conversations I've had with him and with the coaches has been really positive, and it just seems like everyone's really excited to get going. And I know he's off with the World Cup, but he's still dedicating time to the Red Roses in terms of getting it in the best possible way for when he does fully come across. And he's certainly very active in what he's doing now, while still obviously preparing Japan in the absolute way that he needs to for their preparations for the World Cup. So he's a busy man.
He is a busy man, but he's never coached females before. Excuse me, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's a missed opportunity not to have a female head coach." I think those people lack information in and around the women's game, and to the personal information about the people involved in those sort of questions and proposals that they should have been heading up. I personally think there was an English female who could have headed up at the moment, but he hasn't coached women before. Did you come off that conversation? And it's slightly unfair and slightly cheeky, but it is me going, Joe, he asked the right questions there, or that was kind of normal, or there's a bit of a way to go here, or he's trying to learn off me all immediately and that kind of stuff. What was the feel after that first chat?
Oh, really positive. I genuinely, and I think if you ask any of the players in the Red Roses, don't have any concerns that he hasn't worked in the women's game. Like, it's really interesting because I find like so many people that have said those comments or made those comments are the other people that want to take gender out of the game. So they just want it to be rugby. So if it's rugby, then it shouldn't matter whether you worked in the women's game or you've worked in the men's game. You should just be the right person to work in whatever side of the game it is. And I think like as long as you've got the ability to understand the players, and for me that's way more important. And it's the same in the men's game. You go and understand the group of players you're working with and building those relationships, and it's no different. And I think that's the most important thing. And I think actually for a lot of the players I've spoken to, it's a complete blank canvas. Like there's no preconceptions or judgments about who they are as players because of what they've done, because they've seen so much of it. He's coming in and taking them at face value, and I think it just gives everyone a really exciting opportunity to put their best foot forward, to say, pick me, like I'll play the way you want me to play. You can coach me, you can make me a better player, like everything that you want in a coach without having anything previously about it. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. And how does anyone get an opportunity in either side of the game without initial opportunity? So if I want to go and work in the men's game, like, which potentially I might want to one day, they'll be like, well, she hasn't worked in the men's game, she can't go and work in the men's game. And I just think, well, you need a way in, and if this is the way in, then for me, I've got no issue with that.
I mean, peg devil's advocate, people say, well, it'd be like you taking the England head role. But John Butcher comes in a huge amount of experience. I don't have an issue either way. Sounds very positive, wants to learn and what have you. One of the nicest things, and sorry to bring it back up, but one of the nicest things for me watching the Black Ferns win the World Cup, and it was painful, I can assure you, but on a personal level, rather than professional, but was the relationship between Wayne Smith and the Black Ferns and Graham Henry. And tell me, even their closest friends, and they're all different people, of course, John Mitchell and Graham Henry and Wayne Smith, but at the end with the party hats on, the glasses and the shots of them at training and all, that was utterly genuine relationship. And why can't that be forged? That was only in a few months. So it's just not an issue. And as you say, where do you get your chance? Don Middleton started the men's game, didn't he? Gary Smith.
Right.
Gary Smith, Gary Smith.
Yeah,
all started, didn't they? The men's game.
Yeah, they've all like, and I just think it's a great, like, someone of John Mitchell's caliber and coaching history and experience to be like, now I want to go and coach like the #1 side in the world. That's what we should be shouting about. That someone has gone like, I have all this experience in the men's game. I've coached at multiple World Cups with different nations and worked in some of the best environments. Yeah, I want to go and do that job. Like, that for me is a statement of intent of where the game's got to. And I think that's what the Red Roses are excited about, of like having someone like that come into the game with that experience, that knowledge of World Cups, that knowledge of different environments, what he's learned along the way to hopefully bring the best out of this team to go on to win a World Cup in 2025. And he is very much like it. It's not like, there's so many good things about what all the coaches have done before, where Mint has left it, everything that he's put in, how he's transformed the women's game to where it's got to now, for someone else to take that on. I think it's in a really good place, and I think it's exciting about what this 2.5 years will be about.
I'm Stacey Fuller, and you're listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
We must move on, although I could talk to you all day long about coaching and the setup and all the rest of it. But intriguing stuff, and I absolutely delighted for you, delighted for the Red Roses that you're still involved. And look, there's our Sarah, WRP Sarah coaching, all that jazz and what have you. Absolutely delighted for you, but for that reason you are incredibly busy lady. So we need to move on from one coach taking a new role to Greg McWilliams' news with Ireland. They parted company last week. Inevitable?
I mean, you only hear like, or know what's going on from what you hear and what you read, and I think it's very difficult for a coach to stay in a position when they've probably had the tournament that Ireland have had, which probably makes it like pretty inevitable that there was only going to be one way that was gonna happen. And I mean, I feel so sorry for the players. This was meant to be the fresh start. This was meant to be the next, like, just, they've got their contracts, they've got new coaching in. This was going to be their rebuild, and it just feels like that's now happening again. And you just think that they now get it right for the international team, but equally as important for the women's game in Ireland. For it to thrive, we don't have to go too far back, that they're winning Grand Slams, they get into semi-finals of World Cups, and it just seems like, there's such good players in their setup. They're good people that you want them to have great infrastructure and great setup, that they can really showcase what Irish rugby's about.
Yeah, I think coaches, you have to tell me about probably 3-5 year plans, and we know he's a good guy. We know he's got on well with people. Often the same, quite long in different roles. He's certainly a big hit when he worked with the Irish Rugby before. I think it was leaked, wasn't it, a few days before. There's obviously more to the story. I wonder whether he made some demands, and who knows. But off the back of that, the IRFU announced the appointment of 8 full-time women's national talent squad pathway staff to be based at 5 provincial centres of excellent hubs. The 8 full-time pathway staff will operate out of 5 new women's centre of excellent hubs at Dublin City University, Tetu Carlo in Leicester, University of Galway, Connacht University of Limerick in Munster, and of course the Queen's University in Ulster. Additionally, the IRFU is in discussion with ATU Sligo and University College Cork with a view to setting 2 further Women's Centre of Excellence hubs in those locations. Good news, anything positive coming out of Ireland, things like that, money being spent is good news. Whether it's in the right place is a much longer conversation. Over in Australia, we're whizzing around now. Sunter. Australia, they announced their squad. Hell of a Super W final, by the way. Wow. Fijiana doing it again. Back-to-back titles for them. We'll give you up to date with all the results in a moment or so. But off the back of that Super W final, the Wallaroos squad was announced. The warm-up test for Fijiana, and then going on to the Pac 4 Pacific 4. Big overhaul of the World Cup squad. And without the English-based players, the Bella McKenzies, Emily Chancellors, these are good players as well. Katie Leaney, Laurie Kramer, and the Wallaroos skipper Piper Duck is also injured. So 11 new caps, headlined by a 16-year-old. Is that even legal? Caitlin Halsey. The Waratahs joined by the likes of teenage playmaker Fatia Monica and the Reds fly half Karis Dillinger, who's been in very good form, but she's actually a New Zealander who's obviously now pledged her allegiance to Australia. 10 Reds players who contested that final, including veteran Sharon Parry. They're a tough bunch, aren't they? Remember them
They are.
from that surfing game you played against them?
Yeah, honestly, that game was just. I look back and think if it hadn't been a quarter-final of a World Cup, probably never would have gone ahead. Although less of the veteran, as an older player, who got called veteran, I feel like we could use a better word. It just
okay.
a bit ageist.
No, you're absolutely right, and I've been told that before by Sonic and Sonia Green at Saracens, and she wasn't overly happy. And I typed it. I was thinking to myself, I shouldn't use that word. The experienced, yeah. I'm not going to go back and edit that.
No. I think that's fine. I think
moving forward, that's
moving
fine.
forward, yeah.
Moving forward.
Just got to look out for the over 30s, you know. I'm not even sure she's over 30. I'm probably just aged her anyway.
Wow, that's even worse.
That is horrid. She's just been around for so long. No, I think it's great. I think the fact that English players aren't in the squad it's not a bad thing. It gives the coaching setup an opportunity to look at new players coming through, which is what they need. They need strength and depth. They have obviously got some great players, and the Aussies that are out here are just like shining. I think the opportunity to go and play in this league is really benefiting them, so they will add value when they go back in. But to give those players the chance to play and get vital test match rugby for what's to come with the Pacific 4 and then WXV, wherever they find themselves. I think it's great. Fiji playing another test game. It's what we said off the back of the last World Cup. We want to see these teams playing more regular rugby because that's only going to make them better. And the fact that they've got this game going ahead, I think is excellent. And we need to see more of the Oceania teams playing on a more regular basis.
Well, they have to qualify for WXV. So no, absolutely brilliant. Let's get up to date with the rest of the international news and results for the last week. And the results to bring you up to date with: in Ireland, Railway Union captain Niamh Byrne raised the trophy aloft as the club celebrated back-to-back Energy All-Ireland Women's Cup titles. A stunning solo try from Chisholm Woodall sealed a 28-12 win over Bows at St Mary's College IRFU. Lindsay Peake, friend of the pod, also on the score sheet. In Australia, it was the Super W finals. We mentioned again it's Fijiana Drua who took the title as they did last year. Queensland Country Bank Stadium. The Queensland Reds went down 30-38 in another brilliant advert for rugby. The Netherlands have beaten Hong Kong. Good to bring you up to date with that result, but also it has some significance. It makes them the highest ranked team outside WXV. If they remain in that position, they will compete for a place in the 2024 edition. This is due to the bottom ranked country in WXV3 in October will play a relegation playoff against that team, the highest ranked outside the competition. That was Hong Kong, who are now leaving Sweden earlier in the week. They're on tour in preparation for the Asia Championship later this month. In South Africa, results from the Premier Division Round 1. Golden Lions 10, EP Queens 48. Western Province thumped the Sharks 31-14. The Bulls Daisies, fresh from those contracts, went away to the Border Ladies and won impressively 31-0. If they remain in that position, they will compete for a place in the 2024 edition. This is due to the bottom-ranked country in WXV3 in October will play a relegation playoff against that team, the highest ranked outside the competition. That was Hong Kong, who are now leaving Sweden earlier in the week. They're on tour in preparation for the Asia Championship later this month. In South Africa, results from the Premier Division Round 1. Golden Lions 10, EP Queens 48. Western Province thumped the Sharks 31-14. The Bulls Daisies, fresh from those contracts, went away to the Border Ladies and won impressively 31-0. Round 2 this weekend sees Bowland Dames versus Western Province, EB Queens versus Border Ladies, and the Sharks women's up against the Golden Lions. In France, the Elite One Feminine gets up and running again this week. It's round 10 in Pool 1 at Stade Toulousain take on the Stade Bordelais. Limousin up against Montpellier. Stade travel to Lens in Pool 2. SC Roquebrune take on Blagnac. Lyon over the Alps or the foot of up at Grenoble, while Lille take on AC Bobigny. Of course, the Premier 15s returns this weekend. Sunter, Abbey down to Ealing.
It was always going to happen, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Giselle, Abbey.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, it's like, wow, that's a big move. But if you know the relationship between them and the history, it was inevitable, really.
It was indeed. In the Midlands, Leicester, they sort of finalised their coaching setup. Rockstar Rocky Clark has joined the coaching setup alongside Tom Hudson, who's been serving with Ampth Hill's head coach, and Luke Stafford, who will take on the forwards coaching role. That's a real cross partner. That is a real cross partner. You can't see us, but nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Who knows what's coming ahead? But Meg Jones has signed up. He's not that far up and down the M5, is it? Let's be honest. So yeah, don't read anything into that. We're sending off yesterday. Glad Rocky's got that gig up there at Leicester. But yeah, just beginning to see the Quantza. I've just seen us signed as well for Leicester. Sevens players. Yeah, hardly sure how well that worked out for Wasp, but
it'd be interesting. It'd be really interesting to see how that works. Obviously, they've got hopefully their Olympic Games to go to next year. Whether they get to play 15s, whether it's a longer term contract, if they're going to come back to 15s post that. Again, a new team needs big names, and Meg Jones is like a great name to have. She's played 15. She's got a history in that. Does that entice other people to join when you're starting they're obviously not brand new. They've played in the Championship this year, but getting caliber and quality of player like a Meg Jones in that is pretty high. But it will be interesting to see how much rugby she does play in the Prem over the next few years.
And speaking of that, Prem fixes this weekend. Just 4 rounds left ahead of the playoff. It all kicks off with Harlequins against Wasp, the game changer at the Stoke. The person who won the ticket at the game changer, if you want to get in touch, because your tickets details are with me. So yeah, my phone number was on the winning ticket from the live show. But anyway, £10 for an adult, £5 for a child. Tickets all through the socials. Obviously, you can look for that. Loughborough, your team against Gloucester Hartpury, Sale against Bristol, Saracens host Exeter, and BNP off to Worcester. Can't push you for predictions still just yet until you fully take on the national role rather than the club role. But it's good to see the Prem 15's back, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. You know, it's really hard. Obviously, I think it's the right thing to stop it during the Six Nations. There's just so many players that are away, and like having the Prem Cup allows those players who may not get as much game time or young players coming through to have that opportunity. But yeah, it's been great in club to see all those international players come back this week. There's some real interesting games that are happening. Like Bristol need to win at Sale to try and guarantee their place of top 4. Quins are likely to beat Wasps. So you put a face, Johnny.
Well, there's the prediction of the century.
No, but they need to keep on. They'll put pressure on Bristol. Like it's not a done deal. Exeter and Sarries, this is 4 weeks left, and everything sort of starts to play in. That they're both going to get a top 4 playoff place, but then it's sort of like, how does that play out? Gloucester against Loughborough. I mean, we've got nothing to lose. Gloucester won. They've got that home semi-final confirmed already, have they not?
They have.
But obviously they had great form going into the Six Nations. As you build towards a final or semi-finals, playoffs, you want to be keeping that form going. So it's all very, very interesting stuff going on.
We were speaking of Sevens players earlier on. France this weekend, final round of the HSBC World Rugby Sevens Series in the beautiful Toulouse. New Zealand need to reach the quarterfinals to take the series title. So this is how it shapes up. Pool 1, New Zealand, Canada, USA, Poland go head-to-head. Australia, France, Ireland, Brazil battle it out in Pool B. And then in C, it's Fiji, Great Britain, Spain and Japan. The Black Ferns, as I say, will take the title if they get to the quarterfinals. They, alongside host France, Australia, the only other nation to win an event this season. USA have already qualified for Paris 2024. The remaining spot is to be decided over the weekend, with just 4 points separating Ireland, who are on 64 points, Fiji 62, Great Britain 60. We wish GB girls all the best of luck, I'm sure, Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think GB have always had it tough, haven't they? Like in recent times, 3 nations coming together to try and put a team together, which every other nation has all that time. And what I think we've seen over probably this year is how having that consistent time and now being GB Sevens has allowed them to perform, and they've got better and better as the years gone on. And I mean, I sat talking we had training this morning, and it's really nice. Before we went out, we put it on the big screen because we've got Scots, we've got English, we've got Welsh there, all wanting the team to do well. And I know it's a case of wanting to know, actually, we probably want, if GB aren't going to qualify directly, which they've got every possibility, that's the best position, and we want them to do that and wish them all well. It's like, well, if they don't quite manage that, well, you want Ireland to qualify, because then GB will go to the European qualifiers and we'll probably have less teams to compete against. So it's all really interesting, which I guess is what you want, again, within the game as a whole. But yeah, just wishing the GB girls all the best of luck this weekend, and hopefully they can do the job and get that ticket for Paris next year.
Gotta go. Sunter, just a couple of shout outs. Joy Neville. I no doubt that she was going to be involved in the Men's World Cup, but the first female to officiate at the Men's World Cup announced this week as a television match official. Has been shouts, including myself, for other females to have gone as well. Amy Perrett-Thron would certainly be included. Top 5 referees in the world, men or women. But great to see Joy there. She's a great character and a great official.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's groundbreaking. And I think, like you say, equally you could have seen a couple more women go along in different officiating roles. But we've got to start somewhere, and to have Joy go out there and see her and the great rugby career she had as a player, and now how she's transferred that into a refereeing role. And I read a quote by I'm paraphrasing this, but basically she got asked after she retired whether she was interested in refereeing, and I don't think she was. And then she spoke to someone within the Irish setup who basically said that she would never be able to be a highly qualified referee at the top game, and I think that gave her the motivation to be like, actually, nah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to prove you wrong, and she certainly has gone and done that, and you know, I'm sure she'll be excellent out at the World Cup, and hopefully it's the moment that leads more women to coach in that environment, referee in that environment. So let me do my maths, 2027, we've got more representation than this one.
And finally, Worcester this weekend, as they host the MP in the Premier XVs, they're celebrating the history of the Warriors. And they host the legendary players. It's certainly in vogue, isn't it? Good old Jill Burns is starting this all off with her caps, regional caps and county caps, that kind of stuff, isn't it? And celebrating the past. This is the tagline, and I like it. Well done, Josh, whoever came up with this one. Celebrating the past and looking forward for a bright future.
Yeah, it's really important, you know. I think
is.
Worcester's such a tight club and always have been. I'm not sure how long they've been around, but they've been around for as long as I've known the Women's Premiership. And I mean, it's great
and won it,
and it's great that they've got a place in the league next year. And I think they do it really well. You look at some of the greats that have come out of the Worcester club. You know, Jo Yapp herself played there, and obviously director of rugby there now. You look at your Rocky Clarks, your Cat Merchants, your Laura Keats, your Browners.
Nolly was there.
Nolly was there. Your Browners from way back when. Your Donna Kennedys, your Karen Joneses, all these people that have gone way before, you know, and to celebrate them in the way that they do, I think is brilliant. And you can see what a tight knit group they are. And even on non-Legends days, the players are still down supporting the club, watching them week in, week out. So yeah, it's great that they have a day for them to be recognised.
100%. Well, on there, yeah, love everything about Worcester, just their fight and spirit. Huge amount of time for lots and lots of people there, including Jo Yapp. So yeah, brilliant initiative. Well done there. That's it for another week. Go well at the weekend.
Yeah.
Nothing to lose, as you say, Sunter. If you haven't already, subscribe, rate and share. Thanks to Tom and Vicky along in the background. And lovely to catch up with you, Sunter. We'll see you next time.
Always. See you later. Bye-bye.